So, do you like watching the Minnesota Twins on TV these days? Well, with ESPN reportedly about to swallow MLB TV, it's about to get more complicated and possibly more expensive to watch the Twins on television. Sigh. Well, we can't make it go away or make it better, but we can get Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Locked On Twins, your daily go-to source for the top Minnesota Twins insight, discourse, and analysis. Personally, it's my favorite show of the Imperial Locked On Podcast Network, which, by the way, brings you your team every day. That's right. And I possibly have lost my place. Oh, there it is. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe where applicable. I'm Dave Brown, an MLB writer who remembers when his boyhood team, when their broadcast went from somewhere really high on the UHF band one moment to pay TV the next. Mom would not pay for it. Regardless, I became a BBWA member someday and a Hall of Fame voter sometime after that. Across the Great Plains of cyberspace is Brandon Warne, who will watch the Twins at any medium, any platform, anytime. But we are about to test that premise again. You can find his written work at the Access Twins newsletter, and you can find mine at Picture List and maybe other places. I get off the schneid. On this podcast, ESPN and MLB had their differences, but they've stopped with the sniping and are deep in negotiations to transform how we all watch baseball again. This means changes to Twins TV and I believe 4 other teams' digital rights, reportedly. And there's other details too. National things. The home run derby's going to Netflix, that kind of stuff. The Twins, by the way, they got swept by the A's. I think it's because Falvey and Zoll didn't take my advice on how to put the roster together post-trade deadline. Oh, well, to each their own. But some people are losing their minds at losing 3 games to the A's. Just don't, okay? But here's some news that we can all embrace. Pablo Lopez has begun his rehab assignment from his Terry's major injury. SWR is rehabbing too after an illness knocked him out of the rotation 3 weeks ago, I think. Hasn't it been that long? Before we tell you more, we want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip to any golf tournament in the USA. And there might be restrictions there because there's an asterisk after the tournament, but I don't know. Maybe we should have talked about
You
that.
can't go to the Waterbury Open in the Happy Gilmore movie, so you can't go to that. But otherwise, give it a look.
All right, so there you go. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Oh, all right. Well, yeah, I can see how the Masters, they wouldn't let people in. They barely let people in who have tickets. Anyway, it ends October 31st, this contest, 2025. So get on that 5 Hour Energy kick right now and get to golfing. Brandon, the Twins are, I think I was under the impression that the Twins TV they'd finally made the change to Twins TV, and now it's not that they're not going to be on Twins TV. My understanding is they're going to be on Twins TV next year, but ESPN is muscling its way in, and you're going to have to buy an ESPN subscription. Oh, my God. Am I overreacting to this? This seems like a big pain in the butt. And I don't, I'll go to whatever app, I don't care. But I don't actually like ESPN. ESPN's app, I know they got a new app or something. The old app stunk. It's one of the worst apps for sports. It was always kicking me out. Maybe it was me. Maybe I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm glad for baseball that they have their monetary ducks in a row, but it just, it seems like one thing after another, and the Twins are one of the 5 teams where the local rights are kind of up for grabs digitally long term, and I don't know.
I believe I have the list of those teams, by the way.
Oh, go ahead.
Minnesota, Cleveland, Arizona, San Diego, and Seattle, I believe, is the list of 5. So
4 of those guys are ex-Bally Sports people who
Yep. Yep, that's just kind of how it goes with my day job. We actually have contracts with them to do the work that I'm doing right now for Twins TV. So that's how I know who the other 4 teams are. But
so my take on this, I've kind of already said it, is it's another kind of irritation for fans who, kind of waited and dealt with some, periodic technical issues. Bally Sports, when I think the biggest thing, maybe fans out there would disagree, but when Bally Sports ran, when they did the Twins TV and those other, the big issue was that the app didn't really work very often. I think that was the biggest one. And they had other issues too. And so now I don't know. I actually don't know. It seems to me, I've watched the Twins on MLB TV, and I've done some backdoor things with my location. So I didn't have to watch them on Bally Sports. Or I didn't have to watch them. I don't have to go through those kind of hoops. I do some electronic sleight of hand so I can watch on the MLB app. And the same thing with the Royals too. Maybe I'm sure the police are coming to my house now, but but I'm of an age where that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. For grandma and grandpa, it becomes an issue. And now you got to make sure you have, with this new system next year, you're going to have to buy into ESPN, and maybe maybe
a whole new change that they probably just figured out how to get TV and games now. And it'll be another change sometime. And yeah, it's, is this preferable to how things were going before? The influx of cash, cash rules everything, is probably the primary reason it's happening. I don't know if this means the Twins are better off than they were at Bally, better off than they were at Twins TV. If this is a merger, if you'll keep the same technical staff, the same production staff, I would assume much of it remains the same, because ESPN simply can't wedge their way into these spots and then think they're going to create a whole new thing. It's going to be, some sort of hybrid, what's existing with the big ESPN stamp on it, which, that's what happens when breweries merge and suddenly Leinenkugels has the Anheuser-Busch or InBev or whatever stamped on it. There'll be some collaboration, but it will likely mean, you'll have to get another app or a different app. You may have to pay more. Who knows what the breakdown for that's going to look like. If you get one of these teams, you get all 5. Maybe if you buy an MLB TV, they'll have a reciprocity thing. Not that I think that that's likely, based on the fact that they never seem to want to do quite right by the viewers, at least not on MLB side. But I have more questions than answers again. And maybe that's just my nature, and I don't know what any of this means. I hope it means between that and the infusion of cash from the investors, the 2 sides buying into the Twins, maybe this means that finances are going to turn around and they can, who knows, maybe trade to get Carlos Correa back. I'm kidding. But they can, get back to at least where the payroll was in 2023, which will give them a fighting chance in 2026. We'll see. I do have one question for you, though. Will this, in your mind, or in general, have any effect on labor negotiations or relations? Does this stability help? Does it not matter at all? Is it like jingling your keys in the other room to get someone's attention, or are they somewhat related?
Yeah, they're somewhat related. I would think that it helps because it's one less thing for the owners to worry about. I think that the owners have, it's been reported that they're going for a salary cap. Well, we've heard that before. But
didn't that go all the way back to 1994?
Right. Yes.
With Donald Fear and whoever else.
Yeah, it's gone back, in some respects, in using different words, different verbiage, even longer than that.
Well, yeah, or otherwise they just collude. So.
Yeah. Well, that was 1986 and 1987. So that's several years before that. So it does give the owners some a little more revenue certainty. So that's good.
Hard for me to imagine it benefits the players that much in negotiations, though.
Does it benefit the I don't, I really think the only reason it might is that it will make some owners less jumpy and necessarily committed to breaking the union, which I suppose it could happen someday, but it hasn't really come close to happening before. I don't see, they talk about a salary cap, but they'll probably settle for something less than that because they usually do.
What there is now is a de facto one anyway with the luxury tax. I think that's perfectly fine.
There is, but people say, well, we need a floor too. But you're not going to get a floor unless you get a cap.
Well,
You're
and
the
teams can abuse this now too with how they're structuring deals with Shohei Ohtani. So that may have to have something baked into it. The NHL had a pattern or a period where, like, I don't remember who it was, Rick DiPietro or one of the goalies signed like a 15-year deal, and guys were signing 10, 12-year deals.
Yeah.
And the NHL is like, no, we're not doing that anymore. And they changed it. I think that could be part of it. Not pertinent to today's discussion, just something that I think, they may not get the salary cap or floor, but a more ironclad, stronger ceiling on the luxury tax instead of an actual cap.
And then to go with that, some kind of maybe they can't get a floor, but maybe they can do something with revenue sharing where they make the Pirates spend the money they get on revenue sharing rather than pocketing.
Yeah, that's got to be in your operating field budget. I think would be a way to, and there's probably a way to enforce that accounting wise, but I don't know. That's for the smarter people to figure out.
Speaking of smarter people, we're going to let you hear from some of them now with our first commercial break.
And it's the smart money people. If you've ever wished that managing your money was easier, boy, I got a story for you. But with Monarch Money, it can be easier. Whether you're growing your savings, planning a big purchase, whatever, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. It's basically like a bunch of different financial apps, but all in one place to track your accounts, investments, and spending. And so in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. You're not just a steward of the money you have, but you are able to get money in. That whole process is streamlined here with Monarch Money. And again, you may find out some surprising things about how you budget, or in some cases, don't budget. But those surprises will be less of a surprise as time goes on because Monarch Money will show you where you're spending much of your money, where you can make some changes, and all that sort of stuff. Plus, if you have a goal you're trying to get serious about, you want a bigger house or you want your first house, that starter house, Monarch can help you get to that point. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com, and they'll get 50% off of your first year. Again, that's Monarch Money, code LOCKEDONMLB, and they'll give you half off your first year.
Locked On Twins has returned for our second segment. Hey, I want to let you guys know something out there in listener and watcher land, that you should make sure that you are subscribed to Locked On Twins, because that way you don't miss any of the great Twins content we've got for you. That includes the Twins postcast, usually with Luke Inman, but sometimes with Brandon Warne.
Wore my backwards hat to properly give Luke the respect he deserves because he's a very much backwards hat guy.
You guys and Griff Jr. So that way, when you subscribe to Locked On Twins, you get this great thing. You get the postcast, you get everything, and it's free. 2 for the price of 1. It's actually free. There's no price. It's not like Twins TV and ESPN. So please subscribe now. Do it now if you haven't already. And if you subscribed already, do it twice. Subscribe again. I'm sure there's a button for that. So Brandon, the Twins lost again. Now, I know we had a couple shows where we tried to constitute the best possible roster for the rest of the season, so maybe the Twins could win. I think we were, I don't know if we were kidding ourselves. I know we were kidding ourselves, but they haven't done a great job of winning since they traded 11 of their players. I suppose I shouldn't be that surprised. And a lot of what they got back were still in the minor leagues or working its way back. So they've lost 4 to the A's now at home. That's not great. People aren't happy about it. It's almost like they forgot that they punted at the trade deadline and they have a roster that's 40% gone from before. I thought maybe they could do better, but the A's, hey, let's look at this. The A's are one of the better teams in the American League in the second half.
They're 35-30 since these teams played in Sacramento.
There you go.
Like that's 2 months.
I remember I wasn't necessarily one of these people. I was, hopeful for the A's and their fans, wherever they are, whatever, that they would be better this year. But there were some lunatics out there that thought maybe the A's could win the American League West. Maybe they were just goofing or riffing.
That made a lot of people think that they were a little closer than they were.
Yeah, file it under. I wasn't wrong. I was just early, if you will. the A's, in the second, I think they're 11-7, and since the trade deadline, something like that. So
basically, the opposite of the Twins.
Basically, the opposite of the Twins. The Twins, other than who's down there at the bottom? Oh, the White Sox. The White Sox are back to being the White Sox. The Twins and the Rangers and the White Sox. The Rangers, who went for it, by the way, just like the Royals and the Astros. The
Danny Coulomb.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I looked it up.
Yeah.
Since the deadline. Now, this is accurate as of 2 days ago, but the Twins had a lower bullpen ERA than it was the Blue Jays, the Rangers, and one of the other teams that they traded a reliever to. It was not the Rays, because Griffin Jacks has been – the Dodgers. The Dodgers were another one, and Brock Stewart's hurt. But also, too, and I think this might still be true because they didn't exactly get blown up pitching-wise, they actually have a lower pitching ERA in August than they did through July. Now, again, it's comparing 4 months to 1 month or 4 months to 3 weeks. So obviously it's not apples to apples, but the pitching has been better than I think even not even I expected. I thought it would be a real slog, and in a lot of ways it is, but they've been respectable when I expected it to be not near that.
And we've got to remember, I know it's unpleasant. We got to remember, to adjust, not just lower our expectations, but adjust them,
modify.
They're not in the pennant race. They're not. When you lose 11%, when you lose 11 guys off your roster. Okay,
Menards.
I heard a Christmas ad today, so it's coming. So
we're not even back to school yet here. I mean, maybe in your neck of the woods.
You're not?
No, still. My daughter's still 2 more weeks out.
My kid's second day of school already. Actually, Kansas was last week. So
North Dakota's right around now too, which is, we're East Dakota, and we don't go back till the 2nd at my daughter's school.
East Dakota.
If we didn't have the Twin Cities, that's what we'd be.
That's kind of like Illinois and Chicago, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So I can't get too upset about, and maybe it's because I'm not a fan. Maybe that's it. I can't get too upset about getting swept by the A's for all the reasons that I listed. I'm just not. You can't. People enough. You treat it like it's a Vikings game or something. And
every game is must win. It's like a college football game. Every game is must win. If you're Alabama and are afraid of not getting into the, I want to say the BCS, but the finals. BCS.
CFB.
CFB. BCS is from when I was growing up, and it was like Miami and Ohio State every year. But Yeah, if you want to get into the CFP, you can't lose. Well, MLB, when we saw Royce Lewis slam his helmet today, and if you let the average fan dictate reactions, guys would be doing that in the second week of May when they are hitting 220. And I mean, there's still 100 games left in the season. So it was shocking to see because he has always been such a positive guy. But guys aren't just they're not gonna slam their stuff like that either. It's the baseball is the long game. It's the long game of failure. And if every single time the Twins lose, you're gonna tweet, "Wear it, Rockhead," because you don't like the manager, not a lot of people are gonna want to be around you for very much time because that's just not how baseball works.
I don't want to be around these people.
No.
But so Lewis has had a very strange season.
He really has.
He didn't, when he was hit, he hasn't been swinging the bat great. Although I think he hit one today that was almost a home run. Didn't that precipitate the slam of the helmet? That
was after the slam. He slammed it and then he had a big hit.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So now a lot of the usual folks were saying, "All right, he's about to take off. He's about to go on his influential run and turn it around." Which, hey. Anything that they get out of some of these guys down the stretch to show a sign of life for the 2026 roster. I explained this on a White Sox podcast because the Twins are playing the White Sox next. This is basically extended spring training for the Twins. Not extended spring training like the games that the 17-year-old prospects are playing at the end of March, early April. But the stakes here, there are really no stakes. You're facing other teams like the A's, the White Sox, in a similar position. And that's where it was discouraging too, is the Twins seem just so disinterested in the finale, especially. James Outman walks away from the plate while the ball kicks out, away from the catcher. It wasn't Langoliers today. It was the second guy. But it just, they never, after that Fitzgerald stretching a single, he stretched to second. They ended up ruling it a single. It just seemed as though the fire was out of the Twins, and they're going to be facing teams that are in the same spot as them. You should not be able to let them outwork you because you're all in the same boat. You're all young guys trying to find your place in MLB. And so these guys, Colson Montgomery and Nick Kurtz, and these guys are all playing hard because they know that while they might be out of the playoff race, they have to show that they belong here. Now, Kurtz obviously belongs here, but this is the identity of some Twins teams, and we'll have an episode on this where the Twins are better off maybe as underdogs. We just saw Corey Koski get inducted into the Twins Hall of Fame. Think about the teams he came up with. The League of Nations infield and the Soul Patrol outfield. The Twins didn't have a star on those teams. The best player was probably Torrey Hunter or Corey Koski, but nobody would have been like, "Oh yeah, it's for sure that guy." Maybe that's the identity the Twins need to have. But when you are those young guys, you got to come up and outwork the other team because hard work will beat talent when talent doesn't work. The old cliche, right? They were not doing that in this series, and I could not for the life of me understand why.
So you are upset.
A little bit. Well, I told Theo Tollefson in the brief moment we spoke on the postcast today that this game felt to me like a fire your manager effort if the Twins were another organization. I
saw you make that comment. I wasn't sure exactly.
I thought it felt like a fire your manager, shake it up kind of loss. And again, it wasn't like they got blown out 17-1 like we've seen where Jonah Bride pitches multiple innings or whatever. But I don't know. It feels like 3 in a row to the A's. Granted, I agree with you that it's not that big of a deal. The results, it's like, yeah, that is what it is. I got to see more on the field, more just like, I don't know, desire, guts. I don't know what it is.
You want to see more slamming of the helmet. You want to see Rocco point his finger at the umpire.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right, I want to see another commercial.
Well, it's time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink minus the alcohol. And it's a quick, energizing shot. So whether you're into sinking birdies or bogeys or just making memories with your boys, this is a hole-in-one for your energy game. Let's be honest, some days on the course or even off it, you need that boost to stay sharp and energized. I know we do some of these shows at night, and I could use one of these shots because that is, I hit a wall. I get up early in the morning with my babies. I hit a wall, and that's where 5 Hour Energy Transfusion is literally like a transfusion for my brain. And didn't get any of that tonight. You can maybe tell I'm lagging a little bit. But it's especially good for you when you're out on the golf course again, hanging with the guys. You got to keep up, especially if you had maybe you did have a tough night the night before. Not saying you have to, but certainly possible. But golf, all about good times with great friends and great flavors. The grape, ginger, lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to, and you don't have to chase down that bev cart, which is great because if you're golfing, you're not looking to be running right about then, right? That's where 5 Hour Energy Transfusion comes into play. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that's the number 5, hourenergy.com, you can use my promo code, it's mine, Locked On Golf, to receive 20% off your order. Now, that offer is only valid until September 30th. You got about a month and change on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders, but whether you're meeting up with your friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5 Hour Energy shots today.
Locked On Twins, final segment. Before we hit the road, Twins and White Sox coming up. Ooh.
Yeah.
The White Sox were better there for a while. They had a record over 500 in the second half, and they don't anymore. But it's because they're not any good yet, or maybe ever again. So we'll see. We'll see if the Twins can get some energy going against the White Sox. They didn't really have it against the A's, but the A's are playing better in the second half than most teams in the American League. So, but hey, if they need that culture clubhouse shakeup, the new leader Pablo Lopez is actually not around because he's doing his rehab assignment in St. Paul. So he pitched tonight. He did okay. He was throwing 94, 95. He needed like 32, 35 pitchers or something to get to the first inning.
Our friend Grant said he got hit by a line drive.
Say again, over.
Our friend Grant said that Pablo got hit by a line drive off his pitching wrist. So not as bad as it could be, but it just, if you want to be one of those, only the Twins people, that's more arrows in your quiver, I guess, or more whatever. He finished. Yeah. It was just more along the lines of like, seriously, like, come on.
Yeah. I turned it off after Peyton Neal's grounded into a double play. So,
do you think there's any chance they bring back SWR? Well, I want to say as a reliever, but I don't want to see any more Jose Urena either. So I guess it's probably not as a reliever. But I feel like it could get bunched up if Taj Bradley and or Mick Abel come up too. So all I'm saying is like maybe you make SWR a multi-inning fireman. I mean, not that you need a fireman now. You let those fires burn unabated because you're not trying to win. But in general,
don't let him pitch any more than 3 or 4 innings anyway.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it seems like a cop out to me. Oh, yeah, I can't wait to see this pitcher's stuff would play up if he was just a reliever. So that's almost a cliche at this point. But I kind of would like to see SWR as a reliever.
I think he's got the moxie for it, too. Like, I think he would be, you look at Griffin Jacks and you see a visage of a late inning reliever, someone who seems like they are fully in command of themselves at that time. SWR gives me that vibe for sure.
Visage. Jacks didn't fly for the French Foreign Legion, man. He was for the Air Force. I don't know why you get all froggy on us, but so Pablo gets hit by the line drive, but finishes his start. Throwing 94. Otherwise,
pretty good.
Not really a clean game, but it's his first appearance since the Terry's Major.
June. That series was like June 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, or something like that, or 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Because I think the Twins won the first 3 and then lost the last one, and they lost more pitchers than they lost games in that series because Zebby went down too.
And then SWR, that was maybe the worst thing about this series against the A's. They couldn't get any revenge on them for
the Twins
ruining our pitching staff.
They had the 3rd worst record in MLB since that series, whereas the A's came in 32-30 and leave 35-30 since that series. So definitely a chance that the Twins season more or less ended there.
So we'll see. And you mentioned Danny Coulomb with Texas. He hasn't pitched quite as well since he was traded, but his xFIP isn't too bad.
Jax's ERA is up to 4.70. He's up over 6 with the Rays, and if you look at his B-WAR, he's almost to 0.
This is okay. Finally, it's sort of crystallized in my brain. Do you know how the Twins probably would be playing if they hadn't made all those trades?
Exactly the same.
Kind of like how they're playing now. And can you imagine how upset people would be if the 11 guys that didn't trade were playing like this?
I mean, we watched it for 4 months.
Yes, there's a reason they traded those guys.
I'm coming to grips with it. I really am.
But the collective wasn't doing it.
I've really come to grips with it. And maybe a tweet I had tonight where it's like, are we really going to cry about this forever? You got to move on. I mean, again, I know Duran is throwing darts in the city of brotherly love and keeping Max Kepler company and whatnot. But you broke down a bullpen and a shortstop who is now a third baseman and may or may not be any good still. Honestly, it might work out quite well for Falvey, even if the initial issue or the initial damage was really hard to withstand.
Lots of initial damage. This has been a tough couple years. And I mean, I just got here, so I don't even know. We want to thank you, by the way, for making Locked On Twins your first listen today. For your second listen, actually, this is your second listen. So this will be your third listen because your first listen was the postcast. Check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. It doesn't get any better than that. The local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. So for my friend Brandon Warne, this is Dave Brown. Wish you all a very pleasant good evening. Saying we will Alexei Casilla tomorrow night. Right.